Welcome to MMRC. Dear friends, we are discussing about the postmodernism. This is part 3 of postmodernism and public administration. In the previous presentations, we discussed about the basic foundations of the postmodernism and how they are impacting us to understand the realistic situation. We say that foundationalism and anti-foundationalism. So, the whole basic ideas, whatever we discussed about pragmatism, discursive democracy, foundationalism, anti-foundationalism, all these are basically they say that they rejects the idea of a single unified whole in which everything is ultimately related. You are not able to know the things what ultimately related. The existence of what we call knowledge today, it exists because we created it. It contains the truth exists only in statements and not in facts. So, what is the knowledge? The knowledge which is created by us. What is an administrative knowledge? Created by the bureaucratic systems. So, there is a difference between a truth and fact. This is the basic foundation of the postmodernistic group. They raise another important area, that is called hyper-reality. We talk reality, hyper-reality. In the society they say reality has collapsed and whatever we see today is only conjured up through images, symbols, signs, illusions and through simulations. This, according to the postmodernist, is the reality. According to postmodernists, what are the basic conditions or illustrations? Just I will give some of the examples. What is modernity of rationalization, that is what we are now? How you can reason from the postmodernity is concerned. Reality, whatever the modernity, what we are talking is global vision. Postmodernism says particular interest. Modernity is we are thinking production, they saying about consumption. We are saying integration, they call differentiation. We say interest organization, they call social movements. We say the party politics in modernity, they say personality politics in postmodernity. We say bureaucracy in modernity, adhocracy according to them, national culture we say, MTV, Real TV, other TVs are they say. We say planning, they say spontaneity. We say reason, they say imagination. We say the whole, they say fragment. For each and every our intellectual understanding system in social and bureaucratic and political phenomena, including in literature, they have altered, they identify a different type of a system. Modernity chooses, denotes cohesion, postmodernism is all about disintegration. On the other hand, we view modern society from a traditional perspective, then it comes across as very chaotic. People were uprooted from rural and village, they are coming out of the rural village life and a big city life took over. This sort of evaluation depends upon the viewer's perspective. According to the traditional modern view, public administration should strive for promoting the societal common good and not just for any particular group interest. The postmodernists do not agree with this notion and they say public administration should cater to the needs of particular groups like poor, downtrodden, women, minorities. They have skewed from a justice and not general from justice embracing all the sections of the society. They contend that public administration should take a moralistic stance and not a logical rational stance. Logical rationalism putting you under a cage. A realistic stand is going to put you into a reality. So, the comprehensive postmodern discussions of public administration are scarce. A few basic books have appeared, but most of the textbooks have some paragraphs or chapters commenting on the postmodernism and leave it there. Since they are close to public administration by theme, it is interesting to note that organization theorists have for a long time worked with postmodern trends. We will see just a look into that. We are calling it as an organization theory, but the trend among the writers of public administration also postmodernism. Take Mary Parker Follett. Public administration is a less receptive on the broad discussions of postmodernism. Most of the scholarship of postmodernism and public administration comes from Denmark and Netherlands and the United States of America. There are few sympathetic writers in Britain as well as Australians. As we knew, public administration has acquired a scientific nature of spreading across various spheres of social and economic development. Once we say the social and economic development, that is the basis idea of public administration. You have to think of a reality based on postmodernism rather than bureaucratic understanding of modernism. However, the postmodernism does not give any eminence to scientific studies. Postmodernisms do not work with reality nor see an adequate scientific means of representing a reality. Postmodernists, there are two types: affirmative postmodernism, skeptical postmodernist. These affirmative people are optimistic, positively inclined and observe the social movements, understand various pulls and pressures in the society. The skeptical people are highly fragmented, disintegrating, plunged in chaos with deep rooted malice. As a concept, postmodernism started dominating the world after the collapse of the Soviet Union, particularly where you say another important after the retreat of a Marxism. So, whenever the Marxism is withdrawn, is the other way around, that causing a retreat of Marxism, a new alternative theories are emerged. One among thing is postmodernism. We can say it is a post-Marxism and post-structuralism. Although there is no agreement among these proponents of these postmodernistic people, the basic thrust of postmodernism is a rupture of discontinuity with modernism, rooted in the enlightenment of the represented rationalism, technocentrism, the standardization of a knowledge as well as production, a belief in linear progress, humanism and absolute universal truth. Postmodernism contributed to the growth of intellectuality and the knowledge. This progress has, because it rejects modernism and emphasizes the shift away from the central tenets to the refers to reality tendencies, and from a large cultural systems of a society to a basic primitive cultures and protecting of it, from a global values to a ground level systems. It is a devastating critique of modernism and its core structures, values and norms. Its language jargon ridden, although not shortened conceptual fertility. Because whenever we discuss this postmodern conceptualization, we can simply say that this postmodern condition, this typology, the thinning of reality of the development of a hyper reality, the signs and words become increasingly estranged from reality. the words and symbols become meaningful only in narrow context. They are unlikely to mean anything solid or lasting. We are basically working based on some type of not coming out of the existing understandings. So, there is no concept of a national culture. The emphasis is on microculture and subculture. There is no absolute reality, and the reality is socially constructed. There is no absolute reality. There is no such thing as a structure, what we are thinking structuralism, structure, foundations. There is nothing definite about structure, and the structure varies according to the subjective perception. Causal analysis or social or historical conditions is disputed. All forms of totalizing thought and meta-narratives are rejected by the postmodernist. Essentialism, universalism, functionalism and reductionism are seen as the four methodological scenes of modernism, and they have no legitimate place in postmodernism. They say that symbols and language are centered to the power. Postmodern discourse is deconstructive in nature and seeks in distance as from truth, knowledge, power and language. See, the whole ultimately what is postmodernism is bringing to us, distancing from us from what we are thinking truth, what we are thinking knowledge, what we are thinking power, what we are thinking language. Come out of these four, enter into a new world of new language systems, new theoretical foundations, new imaginations and new realities. Whenever we say postmodernist theory of public administration is located in the moral principles of democratic, egalitarian, free polity, it disputes with the possibility of university theory of public administration. The theory of postmodern public administration, generally labeled as constructivism, is based on the trilogy of post-behavioral tenets of public administrative, namely critical theory, phenomenology and structuration theory. So, what are these critical theory? Critical theory is a post-Weberian conceptualization of the Frankfurt School, having a significant impact of social sciences in general and public administration in particular. The prominent thinker Jurgen Hebermas is based on a critical perspective. Access to a symbolically structured object domain calls procedures that are logically distinct from the developed of the natural sciences. He attempts that demarcate critical theory on the interpretive schema, on the social action is depend on the agents of definition of situation, strictly empirical analytical science. The critical theory of public administration urges replacement of the shifting effect of techno-administrative domination of bureaucracy through debureaucratization and democratization of administration based on free flow of communication and an expose of inherent contradictions in hierarchical relationships. So, it inspired a movement for improving the quality of organizational life. This theory has strong individualistic, subjectivist and anti-bureaucratic thrust. The phenomenology, what critical theory says, a methodological relation to assumption of the positivist and behavioralist schools of public administration. Structuration theory, which was articulated by Anthony Giddens, based on social construction of a reality. Giddens argues that social institutions such as organizations are grounded in social process, and those social structure constraints limits our possibilities of action. Bureaucracy as a structuration of repeatable practices, a conglomeration of habits, pattern of social practices that recur in rule life fashion. These based on the two assumptions of a critical theory and other theories. Structuration theory and the critical theory. These two theories says that bureaucracies are set as social habits, social constructions labeled as recursive practices, and they are social constructions rather than concrete entities. In continuation of these two theories of a critical theory and structuration theory, Charles Fox and Miller, they developed a theory called discourse theory. It is the latest theory among the public postmodernism and perhaps the most radical of the postmodernist public administration theories. This theory is a pluralistic vision of public policy and administration. It rejects a deterministic view of public policy and administration that holds of a decision made by the central elite has a determinate effect on the administration down the hierarchy. The point of the discourse theory talks that it links the public administration with the public policy and holds a decision made by a central elite has a determinate effect on the administrators down the hierarchy. The silence of postmodern critique of public administration stems from its rejection of public management as an orthodoxy that is intellectually bankrupt and democratically unacceptable. The words they use, the postmodernist, a different type of a system. They criticize the bureaucratic system and the public policy structures what they are. At the same time, they call public management theory as a orthodoxy and it is an intellectually bankrupt. It denounces normativism, the citizen participation as a communitarian dogmas. It also rejects Wilson's politics administration dichotomy, scientific management paradigms of Taylor and ideal type of bureaucracy of Weber and this trilogy as orthodoxy. Wilson, Taylor, Weber, we think it's a grand theories. They simply say that it's a this trilogy is an orthodoxy systems. So, based on what exactly these all arguments are coming up, how can we sum up the public administration and postmodernism? Postmodernist public administration has some thematical focal points of criticism. First of all, there is a criticism of the Enlightenment and its modernistic consequences with the bureaucratic organization and its rational procedures as the icons. Putting the whole thing into icon and say that we are following the icon is criticized by the other people. This critique leads to an interest in public administration and how they may serve a broader role as energetic developers of a better society of everyone, particularly the weak. Therefore, postmodernists have a little interest in civil servants serving power holders as well as the power holders themselves. They are least bothered about the civil servants and their power, and they are thinking that they are serving the power holders. They add something to public administration like democratic governance, links to the public, interaction with clients and methods of evaluation of the consequences of public policies. However, postmodernism does not recognize the universal values of public administration like civil service neutrality, universal principles of public administration, centrality of administration, superiority of representative bureaucracy and democracy, superiority of legal rational authority and bureaucracy, participative administration, value fact dichotomy and others. All these values are rejected and not recognized by the postmodernist. it exhibits contemptuous rejection of foundationalism, that is a belief in any canonical and absolutist universality. So, whatever we are thinking, the basic systems of the public administration, it has been rejected by the postmodernist. They questions causality, objectivity, rationality, responsibility and truth. So, the whole issue is now, what is the reality according to us? Causality, objectivity, rationality, responsibility and truth. They questions all. It takes on issues that are fundamental for the future of social sciences. Postmodern analysis of public administration, in conclusion, is not a threat to the mainstream research at all. So, mainstream researchers should stop ignoring it and instead actively discuss the challenges, realizing that the agenda of the postmodernism is different from traditional disagreement among researchers. So, nothing to worry. They are opening, they are giving a new lenses to us to look into the realities. You see this reality through this lens. So, they are saying about all these things are, whatever you are seeing, the bureaucratic phenomena, social phenomena, everything is wrong. Nothing wrong in to understand that. Postmodernists have appeared no collective wish to run a program that leads to future power positions. They wish to be able to point out where traditional research could do a better job, namely highlighting now traditional understandings of power, block access of minorities, poor and those who have few skills in communication. So, the basic idea is they are not saying that do not go for the traditional type of a research which is focused and benefit somebody. So, the point is postmodernists very clearly say about whatever ideas, consciousness, knowledge you are having, which is your knowledge is generating from the consciousness and which is based on ideas created, which is based on an ethics, which is based on a basic logical understanding in the name of a rationality, is a questioning. They are questioning this. In this background, as a student of public administration, we have to re-look into the basic issues how we are thinking of. They say politics administration dichotomy is, the dichotomy according to them is rejected, scientific management of Taylor is rejected, new public as management is, they said it is a hollow approach, and they say bureaucratic systems created by the Weber is not at all acceptable. For each and every idea, each and every icon, each and every thought, each and every concept, whatever the public administration people are saying, accepting as an important ideology and theory, they questioned it, they have given alternatives for each and everything. Explain the concept of Jurgen Hebermas Critical Theory and its criticism on bureaucracy. What are the important concepts of the postmodernism to understand the existing concepts of the public administration?